Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to South Africa. I'm on Djuma Game Reserve, and my name is Byron, and with me on camera this afternoon is, of course, VM. Now, we've started out with a nice, as I said, unusual duo. We've got a female Inyala and a female little Steenbok, and they're busy enjoying these green grass shoots that have come out after the rains that we've had recently. We've got Megan in the final control with us, and then of course the team in the Mara will be joining us too this afternoon. It's a beautiful warm day, actually hot rather than warm. It's about 33 degrees Celsius, about 91 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere around there. So very, very hot, but it is a lovely afternoon, clear blue skies, and a nice start with these two antelope, and it's nice to see the contrast between the larger Inyala and the smaller little Steenbok that are just busy feeding on all these green grass shoots. Now, don't forget, we are live, so don't forget to send us your questions and your comments. You can do that via Twitter. Hashtag Safari Live is how you do it, and we always enjoy hearing from our viewers. So please, if you have any questions or comments, send it through to us, and we will hopefully get through as many of them as we can. You can see I can see already, just in the last week, there's been quite a change, especially on these clearings just above camp here at Djuma, with the green grass that has come out. And if you look behind me over my shoulder, you can probably see, look how green this little patch is already. Just from the bit of rain, we've had probably two decent storms in this area and some rain, so it's been wonderful, and it's going to rejuvenate the bush, and very soon things are going to start turning very lush and green. So I can't wait for that. Start getting a lot of the bird species back, the birds that migrate back south for the summer. We've already got a few of them back, but there's going to be an abundance of wildlife very soon again. Not that any of them have left, the animals are always here, but we're going to start seeing a lot of youngsters, young wildebeest, young impala lambs, so looking forward to that. Now, our plan this afternoon is we are going to firstly go back into that area where Tristan had Tundi this morning, a female leopard and her cub with a kill, a big male Inyala apparently, so I'm very curious to see that. So we're going to head into that area. Sorry, I apologize. It was Shadow and the cub. It wasn't Tundi. So Shadow and her cub. That's even more exciting. I haven't seen Shadow for a very long time, so that'll be great. I've only seen that leopard once, so I'm looking forward to seeing her. And I'm not too sure how much activity we're going to get now if we go there, but I'm going to make my way just to see what's going on, if any of those two leopards are possibly feeding on that kill. And as I said, with it being very, very warm like this, chances are they're probably going to be resting in the shade, but we'll go and investigate anyway. And then I think what I'd like to do is probably check a lot of the water holes. Maybe we're lucky and we get some elephant moving through, drinking, and some other animals, you never know, but it is hot, so I hope we have some luck with that this afternoon. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend, and back to work, I suppose, Monday for all of you. That's okay, at least you still got Safari Live. I was chatting about the different bird species that are going to be returning. Now, we've already heard a few of the cuckoos. Now, the cuckoos are one of my favorite birds that come back down south for the summer. And we've already seen an African cuckoo. We saw one the other day, we were able to show you. And then the other, what was it, 2 evenings ago, a red-chested cuckoo flew over camp. We heard it calling. So I'd like to see one of those. So they're back. The European bee-eaters are back. The Warburg's eagles are back. And then we're going to wait for woodland kingfishers. We'll always take bets to see when we think the first woodland kingfisher is going to arrive. A lot of you are apparently saying you're very happy to see how Djuma's changing and starting to become green again. And it's a wonderful time of year to see the change. And I mentioned it the other day when I used to work in this area permanently and go on leave, especially around this time of year, go away for 2 or 3 weeks, and you get back and you can see the change immediately when you drive back in. You see all the lush green vegetation again. Sure. It's a bit warm, heavier. Alright, well, we're gonna make our way down towards Treehouse Dam and see if we've got any sign of those leopards. It is warm, but let's go across to Jamie in the Mara and see how her afternoon is going.
To all of you, welcome on the Sunset Safari. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon Craig is on camera with me, having managed to recover ever so slightly from the hole that Brent drove into this morning, which unfortunately sent poor Craig flying. But we're out and about here in the Maasai Mara in Kenya. So you've been with Byron in South Africa. You're now here with us in the Maasai Mara, halfway across the continent, on a very, very warm, very confusing afternoon. I've been waiting for this weather to close in. I don't quite know exactly what's going on. We've had rumbles of thunder all afternoon, but it's largely been essentially a political thunderstorm. There's been a lot of noise and not very much actual action. This afternoon, the plan is to quickly check on that injured buffalo that Brent and Craig saw this morning. Shame, poor thing, apparently both of her legs are broken. And I just want to see, I'm actually really hoping that we come upon a scene where she's been caught by lions or hyenas or something, because that's an injury that's not going to heal. And I don't want her to suffer for too long. So we're going to go and see if we can find her, check up on her. We're not going to linger, and then we'll follow on for the rest of the afternoon from there. Don't forget, because this is a live safari, you can send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter. The very exciting thing for this afternoon is the fact that I am hearing Megan's voice from South Africa. So typically how we were doing things before was Megan would have been interacting, or whoever happened to be in Djuma, whether it was Megan or Lou, would have been interacting with the directors up in Final Control in the Mara, and then they would have been talking to us. But now, thanks to the brilliant work of our tech team, I can hear the directors in South Africa, which is really very cool when you think about it. Very exciting stuff. Craig, I don't know where I'm going, just by the way. I think I might have gone slightly too soon. Let me just keep an eye out. For those of you that missed the sunrise safari, you've got a vague idea of the situation. You also know that the female had a calf with her as well. So I'm going to go and find out if perhaps the calf managed to make its way back to the rest of the herd. I can see some shapes, got some ellies up ahead. Let's go and find out. This is a one-way road I've taken. I have made a grievous error in judgment. What the rest of the Mara team is up to is that Scott and Seb have gone across the river, and as well as Taylor and Fergus. So they're going to be spending the next 3 or so days on the other side of the river looking for the wildebeest. Speaking of whom, I believe Scott has made it all the way around to Musiara. Let's go and find out if he's excited to be spending 3 days on the other side of the river.
Yes, we are making good speed, and as you can see, we're keeping up this speed, and we'll have to do so for about another half an hour in order to get to hopefully 5 male cheetahs. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Scott, and I'm teamed up with Ferg on camera. We left camp just over an hour ago, and we drove along the northern kind of outskirts of the Mara Triangle. then around to the Mara Reserve and into the Mara Reserve through Musiara Gate. As you can see, there's quite a few wildebeest and Thompson's gazelle enjoying these short green grass plains. And that's a result of 3 or 4 days of good rain that we experienced about 3 or 4 days ago. And it's absolutely incredible to see how quickly the grass can change, having been very, very brown last time I was here, to this beautiful green color. Is quite something. I've also noticed that it appears there's quite a few Thompson's gazelle in this area. I'm wondering if they just haven't concentrated here because of the good rain and therefore good food, or if in fact the so-called migrating Thompson's gazelle did actually make it here. It's been a little bit of a myth, or a mystery rather, not a myth, a mystery. This migration, none of us have really noticed increased numbers of Thompson's gazelle, and we haven't quite got to the bottom of why. Okay, well, we've decided to divide and conquer this afternoon. Jamie's in the northern parts of the triangle. Taylor's headed across to the southern parts of possibly the triangle, or she may cross into the same side as the river as me, into the reserve. And she's a lot further south. I'm going to be a lot further north. So why don't you go and see exactly what Taylor's plans are? It sounds like she's in amongst a whole bunch of wildebeest down there.
Scott, I'm in absolute awe at the moment. Not only have some of the wildebeest returned, but we've also got a couple of zebra in between, breaking up that dark, solid shape, which is really cool. I'm so excited. Sebastian is smiling from ear to ear, and that is who is on camera with you today. But of course, you're stuck with me. My name is Taylor, and like I said, Sebastian's the one bringing you all this amazing footage, and hopefully we're going to show him his first crossing today as well, because there's just wildebeest on the triangle side of the river, as well as back across and in the Mara National Reserve. How exciting is that? Lots and lots of them. Just to give an estimation quickly, I reckon there's maybe about between 5,000 and 10,000 wildebeest on either side of the river, all around here. They're everywhere. It's fantastic. Haven't seen any cats just yet, but remember, this is live, this is interactive, so if you've got any questions, you're more than welcome to chat to us. Hashtag Safari Live, and then you can also talk to us on the YouTube chat. But just look at all of this. Now, the cutest thing I think at the moment is not the fact that the wildebeest are back, because there's nothing quite cute about that. That's just impressive to see so many different animals. But there's a couple of little babies here and there, and you might be able to spot some of the topi babies in and amongst the wildebeest, although I can't see any that are standing out right now. But there's a group of topi, and then of course, like I said, breaking up the solid shape is the zebra with their black and white stripes. And there is a nice little group. The stallion keeps watching me as if I'm planning on stealing his ladies, but look at that teeny tiny tot that's about to pop into your screen. It is so cute. There it is, going back towards Mom. And Mom's very protective of it. We've been watching it move around now for quite some time, and was really sticking right next to Mom, just about underneath her belly. She's not there now. She's coming back around. I think she chased another zebra away, maybe getting a bit too close. They can be a bit protective, and it is a very... Oh. Right. Now it seems as though we have a picture that is frozen. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's my smile, maybe it's the zebra or the wildebeest or the topi, but sorries about that. We'll get everything sorted. Let's go back to South Africa and to Byron's car.
All right, well, hopefully Taylor gets that sorted out quickly, a frozen picture. And hope they have some luck in the Mara this afternoon. I'm sure they will. There's always a huge amount of wildlife there to see, and lots of lions and maybe those cheetah, hopefully. Now what I've done is I've actually just done a bit of a loop around. Haven't gone directly to that sighting with shadow just yet. Just check if there's anything else around that we might be able to see and talk about first. As I said, when it is so hot, generally the predators are less active. They tend to lie down, conserve their energy, lie in the shade. I wouldn't be surprised if those leopards decided to go down to Treehouse Dam and drink some point during the day. Khalik, you asking what is the rarest bird sighting I've seen on drive? So just on Safari Live, Khalik, I'm trying to think now. The rarest bird I've seen here. I think those collared pratincoles that we saw them a few times at Chitwa Dam. I was going to say Arathusa Dam. Chitwa Dam. And let me show you quickly, Khalik. Just saying, those are some of the rarest. Because they, I've never seen them before. I hadn't seen them before, and those pratincoles, they do occur around. They're not incredibly rare. I just hadn't seen them before. The collared pratincoles. So we saw them. Beautiful little birds. We saw them around Chitwa Dam. That was it a few months ago. We haven't seen them again, so they do seasonal movements, and that's why you don't always see them around. But those, what else? The cuckoo shrike, I think we saw the other day. That was nice. I've only ever seen that once before, and we saw the female. That's the black cuckoo shrike. Also, not a rare bird, but just not birds that you see very often, I suppose. That's a female black cuckoo shrike, so that was nice to see. I suppose if you've got to go in terms of, birds that are rare and near endangered, the ground hornbills, it's always nice to see them around. The saddle-billed storks, we've seen those. You don't really see those too often. So those birds are nice. That's all that pops into my mind for now. I'll think of some others, Khalik. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Those, I think, was it earlier this year, I think around February, I did see a common cuckoo here. That was nice, and we did get it on camera. And that's not a bird that we see very often, so that was nice. John, we do get crows and ravens in South Africa. Now, they are considered to be vermin. They're not meant to be here, but we do get them throughout South Africa now. And they are on the bird lists, so we do see them. And I've seen the pied crows here on Djuma. We've seen a few pied crows. So we do get them around. Tristan has done a town trip today. He had to go into town, get all our water and fuel again, refill all of those big bottles that we have here, or containers rather, not quite bottles. So he drew the short straw of having to go into town. I think he did it on purpose. Maybe he was craving a burger or something, I'm not sure. Taylor, you asked if animals get sunstroke or heat stroke, and you were asking because it is so hot today. So no, they don't. They don't. The animals all have various ways of keeping their body cool. They will move into the shade. Some of the animals go and mud bathe. They'll throw mud over their bodies or roll in the mud. And so all the animals do have a way of keeping cool, and they don't suffer from sunstroke or heat stroke like we would if we were stuck out here for a number of hours without water. But I can see, I think, especially because it's so hot today, there's not much activity at the moment out in the clearings or out in the open. And also, because a lot of the trees are quite bare, there's not a lot of shade around. These animals would most likely move down into the drainage lines. It's a bit cooler, I would guess. It's sheltered from the sun. Roshni, you asked what happened to my glasses. No, they still at camp. No, they're here. They're in my bag. So Roshni, the glasses are, you know what? It's generally for long distance viewing, rather, I suppose. And I usually wear them at night when I'm back home driving in the city or whatever. Nighttime driving, then I'll usually wear the glasses. My eyesight isn't too bad. It's more just, I think what happened with those allergies, my eyes were quite sore. Those allergies I had 2 days ago, and they just helped a little bit. So I put them on, but I'll probably put them on again at some point, maybe at night. Excuse me a second. I just want to update one of the other guides out on drive. Good afternoon, Henry. Byron here from Wild Earth. No updates for the afternoon just yet. I'm heading down towards Treehouse Dam to follow up on that shadow sighting. So I will still wear the glasses at some point, Roshni. My friends all teased me about it though, obviously. And I've had them for a long time. I've had them for about 2 years. But I don't often wear them, so because I wore them live, I received a number of messages mocking and teasing me. Excuse me. Excuse me a second, I just want to reply to Andrew quickly. Good afternoon, Andrew. Yeah, no problem, you can make your way into that area as a second. Well, I'll update you as soon as I get there. I'm not too far. I'm on Philwan's cut line now. There goes an impala. Okay, copy. One impala running past, probably looking for some shade too. Megan, sorry, can you repeat that question, please? Cheryl, you were asking how far is the nearest town. I assume you want to know how far Tristan has to drive. Well, it takes about an hour and a half to get there from here. That's actually the nearest major town. I suppose you could call it a major town. Hoedspruit. So that's where Tristan headed off to today. There are some communities in that which we drive through outside of the game reserve, but it's not really a proper town. There are some filling stations, gas stations, I suppose, for our American viewers. Call them gas stations. We call them petrol stations in South Africa. The petrol station, the filling station. So there are a few nearby, about 20 minutes, half an hour drive. But then the nearest major town where we get all our food and other supplies and anything else that we need, Hoedspruit, it's about an hour and a half drive. Alright, so our team in the Mara is driving around furiously looking for wildlife. So they just in certain dodgy areas with signals. He's stuck with me for now. Sorry everyone. But I'm not too far from that sighting that Tristan had. So we're going to head straight into that area and go and have a look. Problem is, I know the signal over there for us wasn't very good this morning. So I'm hoping it's a bit better this afternoon. We'll see. Excuse me, but with it being so hot, I obviously get quite thirsty when you're speaking for so long. I'm going to have a little sip of water, if you don't mind. There's a nice big warthog over there. Oh, off he goes, off he goes. Oh no. Often typical of the warthog, as soon as you spot them, some of them will stand and wallow around. Others get quite shy and they tend to run off immediately. And you see those tails raise up as they run through the long grass. Okay, well, it sounds like Jamie has managed to get some signal, so we'll see what she's up to. I wonder what she's looking for this afternoon. So let's go across to her now and find out, and then we'll let you know on that shadow sighting.
I found her. I am completely gobsmacked. So if this is the female buffalo that we've been searching for up ahead, she's walked 3/4 of a mile from the road, from where Brent found her this morning. I'm not going to get too close, obviously. I'm going to give her plenty of space. I can see a calf and I can see a sub-adult, which means the female's probably somewhere there. The rest of the herd is another mile and a bit away. And that's how I knew which direction to go in, because I just followed where they were, because I assumed she would keep following them. But if this buffalo has managed this distance on 2 broken front legs, it just goes to show how absolutely amazing these animals are. And I think she's come to find some water. There's some elephants, there's some giraffe around here. I think that could be what she's after. I'm just gonna, because I can only see 2 of them, and I can only see the sub-adult and the little one, I'm just going to give each large bush quite a wide berth, because what I don't want to happen is that she's actually resting in the shade of one of them because she can't make it any further, and then we give her a serious fright and she tries to get up and she hurts herself even further. So obviously that's the last thing I want. So I've been ducking and diving around the bushes in case she has collapsed somewhere in the shade. No, she's there. Oh, the loyalty of these calves. I mean, I assume that sub-adult is hers as well. I'm quite impressed. She's got a calf and a sub-adult. And the fact that the sub-adult has stayed with her, even though she's got a new calf, just goes to show, although the sighting is heartbreaking for us, we've learned something about buffalo that I kind of knew, but I've never really properly experienced. And that's the fact that they actually stay with their mums even when mothers have had their new calves. They still retain that attachment. let's stop here for a second. Let's just assess the situation, because I know that Brent said that sub-adult tried to chase him at one point. So I definitely don't want a situation where they're scared. There's Mum, I think there's Baby, and there's the sub-adult, and some giraffe thrown in for good measure. So she's sitting eating. Well, I think she's eating. And she's obviously found herself a place where she simply couldn't go any further. No, that can't both be her babies, surely. That one's not much older than the other. I wonder exactly what kind of dynamic we have here. That sub-adult has stayed with her. The rest of the herd, can we still see them, or have they just... There she is. There's the rest of the herd all the way over... where have they gone? I've lost them now. There. There's the herd all the way over there. Shame. So she tried to keep up with them. I did want to return up because I know situations like this are always difficult. But at the same time, there's some amazing stories to be told. It's not about following her and waiting for something to come and find her. It's actually about telling the story of this female's courage, because she's actually gone... I think she's actually moved further than... I really think she's moved further than 3/4 of a mile, maybe even a full mile. The courage of her and the support of the little ones. I'm pretty sure I misheard this. I'm really not quite sure, but I think I misheard this. It sounded like what Megan said to me is that it sounded like she said Byron is sitting in Treehouse Dam with a hyena, but I think it might have been like a hyena.
It was wrong, Jamie. I'm not sitting in Treehouse Dam. A hyena is. Now, this hyena's got the perfect idea of keeping cool. We were saying how different animals, earlier we were saying how different animals have ways of keeping cool, and hyena do this quite often. They'll go and they'll lie in a dam or in a waterhole, cool down for a bit. Now this hyena, I haven't seen this one before. It's blind in one eye. Do you see that? That you can actually see it's got a kind of a glossy glaze over that eye. Louise says the Safari Live team have seen this hyena before. So some of you might recognize it. I haven't seen it. Oh, look at those teeth. Right in the dam. Look at that. Oh. Hyena looks a bit strange. If it's just because it's wet now. I think just because it's a bit wet and looks dirty and muddy and... Well, it was a nice surprise. See a hyena in the water for a change. Just cooling down. He's probably going to go find some shade. Now, I'm trying to think. So I think that hyena is possibly in this area because we're not far from that area where Shadow had her kill. So I'm hoping that the hyena hasn't stolen any of the food from those two leopards, but we're not too far, so we're going to have a look. Now, Fernando, you asked, is it true that hyena males are never dominant over females? And that is true. The females are bigger, and the females are the ones that are more dominant within a clan. They are the ones that basically control the clan. So they are larger than the males and more dominant. So it is true that males, look, if a big male, I suppose, could be more dominant over a younger female, but generally speaking, within a clan, the females are more dominant and bigger than the males. All right, let's drive around. I'm not sure what our signal's going to be like around here, but let's hope we don't lose anything. Let's see, there's nothing else that came down to drink by the looks of things, which I'm surprised. And no sign of any elephant yet either. Now, VM, you will have to direct me into the sighting. Was it through there?
Just follow the hyena.
Is it? Okay. I thought so. VM says just follow the hyena, it's going straight there. Let's go through here, yeah. Let's have a look, try and maneuver through the bush. I can see Tristan's vehicle tracks where he drove off here this morning. I don't even know actually if she hoisted this kill. I don't think so, because it sounded like it was a big male Inyala, so I doubt it. I'm just having a look through here, trying to just make sure I don't miss these tracks. This is still right, have you? Yeah. Off to the right somewhere. Just having a look here. I've got some branches, hold on. Is it? Okay. This isn't going to work. Sorry, I'm thinking about finding a route through here. I don't want to smash these big branches. It takes a lot of concentration driving and finding your way through these areas where there are thicker stumps and branches. I can smell a kill. I can definitely smell it already. With heat like this, then that kill will probably start smelling quite bad a lot sooner. Oh, that hyena's got it. There's the hyena. That's unfortunate. See, as I was saying, I was hoping that the hyena hadn't found this kill, but the smell was obviously too much, and it obviously stole it from these leopards. Now I wonder if these leopards are still in the area. We'll have to look around. I'm just scanning at the moment. With it being so hot, I wonder if they didn't decide to go for a drink and move off possibly. Can you see something there, William? Through there.
Yeah, I think they're behind there.
There's something moving there. Yeah, there's a leopard. It is a leopard indeed. Moving through there. I'm going to move around. Hold on a second. Awesome, awesome. So that is a leopard moving behind there. Now I wonder if this hyena was here earlier or if it's just arrived. Let's have a look and see what's going on here. there's a young leopard. Here's the little cub in this branch, just off to my right. Look at that. Oh, and I've just found the female too. She's just in front of us. Look at that. See how she's panting furiously. Sorry. Oh, there is a terrible smell here at the moment. So I think possibly this hyena just found this carcass. I don't think it's been backwards and forwards, because these leopards are still here, and that cub is quite close and now curious about this hyena feeding on the kill. Interesting to see the female hasn't really stirred. She's sitting or lying in the shade of this log in front of us, but panting heavily. And both of them, look, the cub is panting very heavily, and so is the female. Now, the reason for that, there are two reasons. One, she's very full, and two, it's very, very hot. And that's all. Getting a whiff of this kill mixed with leopard dung, mixed with wet hyena. Not very pleasant. Look at that curious cub. Is he having a look at that hyena feeding? Now, some of you might be a little concerned and worried and possibly thinking, what if that little cub gets too close to that hyena? Now, I heard something quite interesting the other day from a very, very well-known tracker who's worked in this area, basically grew up in the Sabi Sands. His family had a village here before this was actually part of the game reserve. So he grew up living off the land. And I was chatting to him a little bit about leopards, and he's probably one of the first trackers that got to habituate and view leopards within the Sabi Sands. His name's Elmon Mtlongo, and I've worked with Elmon for a number of years, and I know him very well. And I was chatting to him about hyena and leopard cubs. And now, a lot of the times we say, we've got to be careful because the hyenas might kill the leopard cubs. He was saying that the hyenas don't often kill the leopard cubs, that we sometimes mistaken. Now, I'm trying to think. I cannot remember ever seeing leopard cubs being killed by hyena. I've seen leopard cubs and know of leopard cubs being killed by lions and other leopards, and mainly male leopards. But I cannot remember a time where hyenas, that we know hyenas have killed cubs. And I meant to actually mention this to Tristan, and I wanted to chat to him about it and see if he can remember of any scenarios up in this northern section of the Sabi Sands, because I haven't been here for very long. Maybe some of you back home know of an incident, but it's funny. And Almon said, no, they don't. The hyenas don't often kill the leopard cubs. Amazing how well that young leopard disappears in the thicket, but look how curious and inquisitive it is. It's moving closer to the hyena. So just when we said that it's probably hot and the leopards will be resting, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of activity. The leopards are resting, but there's a proud cat mama. You asked if these leopards would ever try and chase a hyena away. Sorry, just getting a little whiff of that carcass again. It's not very pleasant. So proud cat mama, the thing with leopards is because they are solitary, they cannot afford to get injured. So what they do is they rather, and just look at how she's panting over there, shadow panting heavily. So what leopards would do is they try and avoid hyena. Now this female, she knows that hyena is busy feeding on the carcass at the moment. She's very, very full. It's hot. Oh, See that hyena just had a little, because that cub was stalking, going closer and closer, just being inquisitive as cubs do. And that hyena basically just moved a bit too quickly in the bush towards it, and it ran away. But look, going back, looking for more. So as I was saying, the thing with this leopard is she's hot, she's full. There's no reason for her to now try and fight with a hyena over this kill. There's a lot of meat there. The chances are she'll probably still get some of it from this hyena. Leopards do steal their kills back from hyena quite often. See the cub busy watching again. Yeah, if Andrew, I just found both these animals on site. There's a hyena feeding at the moment, so you can make your way in here. All right. Okay, well, I'm going to sit around here for a little while. Let's see what happens. It would be nice if we could find some shade, but I don't think we're going to. We're going to sit and wait and see. So let's go across to Jamie in the Mara and see what she is up to.
Well, speaking of seeing what happens and how situations play out, I don't want to keep you too long from Shadow and her gorgeous little cub, but I want to show you something amazing. She's not able to run, but she's moving. She is moving. Look at her. She's walking. That's how she's covered all this distance. And if she can keep that up, she could get to the safety of the herd. And if she gets to the safety of the herd, she might just make it, you know. It might be that not both legs were broken. It might be that was a bad sprain. It's hard for me to tell. I can't see exactly. I've seen animals recover from broken legs before. 2 of them, it's a difficult ask. In a land filled with buffalo, filled with lions and hyenas. But her little one has taken it, the sub-adult, has taken it upon itself to be her protection, her security detail, which I find absolutely extraordinary, because we always talk about the maternal bond and the instincts that mothers have to protect their offspring. But this is a really nice example of offspring protecting their mothers. Unfortunately, we won't be able to follow her all the way if she does keep going towards the herd. I'll try and stay with her for as long as possible, but you can see I'm keeping a really, really large distance between us because I don't want to add to her stress level. She's probably feeling very, very uncomfortable. But if she makes it to that herd, we'll follow her for as long as we can for while the signal holds out. If she gets all the way there, we won't have signal. Unfortunately, it's the shadow of the escarpment. But if she gets there, it would be a really nice, hopefully a nice end to the story, and hopefully she actually manages to recover. When I heard about her, I assumed that was it, and that was the end of her. But just goes to show, you never make assumptions out here. Let's try for one more view. I'm going to have to struggle to get through this dip in front of us. And she's gone and hidden behind the bushes. She's probably going to have a breast there. So I might have to go... Oh, I found it. Is it a road? It's a road. Found a road. Where'd she go? And just see her calf. Lynn, it is good to see her to at least try walking, but I mean, she's not just trying, she's actually doing it, and she's covering slowly, but she's covering ground at a fairly respectable pace. I'm amazed. I find that no matter how many years I spend out here, and I'm just keeping an eye on where she's going, I find that no matter how many years I spend with the animals out here, they never fail to amaze me. It just goes to show, you never think it's over till it's over. I hope she makes it. It's such a touching story, the fact that she's got those 2 calves with her. And the interval between calves is about 400 days in buffalo at the earliest, so maybe they are both hers. There must be. But there's no reason for that older calf to be with her. No reason at all. It's fully weaned. That is pure bond with mum. Look at her walk. It is incredible. Absolutely incredible. That's all the distance she's covered as we've been driving and talking. Now, elephants, don't you go and hurt her. Does happen occasionally. It's unusual. It's just one of those things. If she gets into the personal space of the elephants, she can't run away from them. Let's just see how this plays out. I'm hoping they're just occupied with feeding. Sandra, absolutely. We could all learn something from these animals indeed. That survival instinct is so strong, but also the love between them. I'm sorry, you can't call it anything but. And the older calf is fully weaned. Go, Mom, go. You can do it. Oh, shame, there she goes. She's down again for a little bit. She's also feeding, which is a very, very good sign. Look how she's moving. Adele, yes, I think that adrenaline could cause her to run, which is why I'm keeping quite a lot of distance from her. I think in the way that she's walking, yes, she could run. Could she run fast enough? No. From a predator? No. And I don't think she could get away from the elephants if they decided to charge her either. It's unusual, and we tend to think of elephants as gentle giants, which they largely are. But sometimes you get one that's a bit taciturn, in a bad mood, and they do occasionally attack and kill more vulnerable animals. I'm hoping that's not going to be the situation now. I'm hoping we're going to get a display of interspecies tolerance. But let's see how it all plays out. Speaking of interspecies,
yeah, so we just lost Jamie there for a second, but we're still sitting with this hyena and two leopards. The hyena's still enjoying the kill. But as I said, these leopards don't look too phased. Both of them are very full. The cub's just inquisitive. There we go. You can see it busy watching the hyena at the moment. Stephen, now you were saying it's hard to believe how a leopard is able to kill a large adult male inyala, and it is. I've only seen it once or twice before, but with big male leopards, never with a female like this. So she did really, really well. Now I wonder if it wasn't an old inyala that was possibly injured, maybe from a fight, or not as strong and healthy as a younger male. I don't know, but it is phenomenal, and she's done really, really well to be able to kill this inyala for the two of them. And you can see how full those bellies are. She is so full. She's put her head down, so it just shows you how relaxed she is. She's not even worried about that hyena at the moment. Hyena's just feeding on the kill. Oh, this is great because, as I said, I've only seen this leopard once before, so it's always nice for me to see new leopards or see another leopard that I haven't seen very much of, spend time with them. Riti, you just asked exactly what I was explaining about, or explained earlier, just about the panting. And you were wondering, Riti, why they're panting so heavily. So, well, it's one of two things, really. It's the heat. For one, it's very, very hot, so they're going to be panting heavily to cool down. But then the other reason is because they're so full. So those full bellies make it difficult to breathe, and that's why they are panting like that. But you see both the cub over there, and we saw earlier the female shadow also panting heavily. Yeah, it's really quite warm here at the moment. The leopard, I mean, as I was saying, because the branches or the trees don't have any leaves on them at the moment, it makes finding shade quite difficult. And the only little bit of shade around, that little cub's got a little bit from branches there, but then the female leopard has got most of it. She's lying in the shade of a fallen over log in front of us. Make do with what you've got, really. So she's done well to find some shade. Let's watch a cub. Let's see if it moves around this side. Look at that, very, very curious. This is interesting. Let's just watch this for a second and see what happens here. It'll be interesting to see how the female reacts if she sees the cub moving closer to that hyena. This is very interesting behavior. I also want to see every now and then the cub takes a step forward and the hyena lifts its head and watches it. See, this is very, very interesting. Sorry, it's such an awkward angle with this leopard in front of us at the moment. I can't position the vehicle any other way, so I've got to lean and dodge at the moment. But you see how the female is watching the cub. The female is watching the cub is watching the hyena, and the hyena is watching the cub. Very, very interesting behavior. Again, that hyena is more focused on the kill than anything else. So as long as it can still feed, I don't think this young leopard will really be in any danger. And as I said, I was telling you a story earlier about chatting to a tracker friend of mine, and he says he doesn't think hyena kill that many leopard cubs, or as we think. We always mention it, but thinking about it, I've never seen it happen. I think this cub is curious because you can see the hyena feeding on its kill, so it probably wants to get in on the action, try and get some food. This is very interesting. I'm going to sit here a bit longer and watch, see what happens. We will definitely keep you in the loop and see what is going on. But let's go across to Jamie, who's also got some different species interacting.
Plays out between Byron and Shadow and her young cub. We're going all the way around the lugger, or the drainage line, and we're going to try and make our way back towards the buffalo. You'll be happy to know that the elephants walked past without any incident, which is sort of what we were expecting to happen at that point. But you never know. Sometimes strange things happen in the animal kingdom that we can't quite explain. It's a long way, though, I have to say. It is a long way, a long, long way around this drainage line. I've gone silent for a second because that's a really very, very good question. And that's come from Philip, who's wondering which species takes the best care of orphans. Funnily enough, I've heard tales of brown hyena being quite good at it. And the one thing that they don't do is they don't practice infanticide in the way that other males do in a lot of different species. But I don't know if that would qualify them as good at taking care of orphans. Lions would probably be an example, provided those cubs were no longer too tiny to keep up with the rest of the pride. If they're very small and their mother dies, they will probably die too. But if they're big enough to keep up with the pride, the other females will still let them suckle, they will still let them share the kills, and as provided they stay with the rest of the cubs, they should be okay. And I guess lions are quite a good example of it. Elephants, again, only if that calf is weaned. Elephants will not allow allosuckling. In other words, they won't suckle a calf that is not their own. Fly in my mouth. So that counts them out. After that, there's no real animals that invest, apart from human beings, to be honest, that invest a huge amount of time or care in orphans. It's not within their genetic makeup to favor, or well, not to favor, but to look after a baby when they have babies of their own to take care of. Antelope calves, buffalo calves, zebra foals all wean very early, and so they will actually be able to survive as orphans if their mothers die, provided they're fully weaned. I've seen a situation where it's actually such a sweet scenario, but it doesn't really count, where a young male rhino, white rhino are quite gregarious, so they enjoy the company of other creatures, and his mother was killed, and as he was around about 2.5, so he was weaned. And we don't know to this day how he managed to avoid being poached, but he did, and he got away. And for the rest of the 2 years that I followed him, he made friends with the wildebeest herd. I don't think they really adopted him. He just kind of moved in with them and stayed. But whenever we found that particular wildebeest herd, he was with them. He thought he was a wildebeest. He eventually, as he grew up and he matured, he then discovered the company of other rhinos, and he spent more time with them. I'm not sure that there's any specific species. I'm going to turn the question around and say to any of you, do you know if there's any species that, perhaps outside of Africa, go away flies, that are good at taking care of orphans? And I think when we talk about that, we've kind of got to say when that youngster is not capable of looking after itself. It would be interesting to know. Obviously, you get it in a captive setting. There's lots and lots of stories of females with maternal instincts being given, cats. I've seen a wild cat suckle a serval kitten before, but that's in an artificial situation. You get lots and lots of scenarios where tiger cubs are suckled by whatever else they happen to be suckled by that's not their mother. You get that in artificial scenarios. I don't think it happens in the wild. Okay, we've got a long way to get around the slugger, a very long way. Hopefully we catch up again with that buffalo female, but we'll do our very best. After our discussions of young cubs and orphans, let's go across to a cub that most definitely is not an orphan.
Yeah, not at all, Jamie, not at all. This cub is still very inquisitive. That hyena close by, sorry, that's a female that's still lying in the shade. She hasn't moved. The cub is still close, but now moving off. And now some of you were answering my question about cubs being killed by hyena. And you say you saw a Karula's litter before she had that young male and female Hasana and Shongile. So the litter before that, you all said that they were killed by hyena. And that's quite interesting. So, like I said, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I think it happens far less than people think. I think most of the causes of deaths of cubs is probably other leopards or lions. I know of cubs being killed by snakes, pythons. That has happened before. Python is a big constrictor that we get out here. But this cub is fit and healthy and curious and climbing trees and watching this hyena closely. Now, Astrid, you were asking how old are leopard cubs before they start eating meat. So I would say around 2 months probably. I'm just trying to think. Around 2 months, I would say, is a safe bet, a safe average. And I say average because it could be earlier, it could be a bit later. Around about 2 months, they'll start getting taken to kills, most likely, where they are able to feed on little bits and pieces of meat. Not as much meat as this little cub is fed on. Just hear that hyena still crunching away at that carcass. I'm trying to have a very good look at this carcass. Just the horns and that. See how much is left. But I can't, it's too thick, I can't see anything through there. There's a bearded woodpecker busy calling at the moment, or knocking rather, not calling. Busy knocking away. B. Josie lady, you were saying you're so happy that we get to spend some time with Shadow and her cub. So am I. Like I said, I've only seen this leopard once, and it was actually on the was it the last little stint I did here? The previous one, I think, and we saw her on the southern boundary, and then she crossed down into Little Gowrie, so I didn't see her for very long. So it is nice to be spending some time with her. Some wonderful sounds at the moment in the bush around us. And birds calling, but those bearded woodpeckers knocking on hollow branches it's basically a territorial knock to warn other bearded woodpeckers that this is their territory, or to perhaps attract a mate. A young leopard cub still panting heavily over there. Gary, sorry, let me just again try and move out the way here. You were asking if the spot patterns of the leopards have similarities from parent to cub within leopards. Gary, I don't think so. I mean, from what I've seen in the past, no, they haven't. Things that might be similar is the general shade of the coat. So we've seen female leopards that are generally quite golden in color, a dark yellow golden coloration, and that gets passed down through the lineage. The cubs all get that beautiful golden coat, and some leopards that are a lot lighter in coloration, that tends to get passed on. But in terms of spot patterns, no, it's very unique. Each leopard is different. I mean, their spots all look similar, so I mean, how could we really be sure? But spot patterns around the whiskers and that, for example, that's completely unique. And definitely throughout the coat. Still this pungent smell. Phew. Adele, you asked if Shadow could be pregnant yet, and no, she won't be. Now, I'm just trying to think how old Shadow, how old the cub is at the moment. I think she's only about, I think that cub's, what is it, 7, 8 months, is it? I'm not sure. Maybe a bit younger, 6 months. Just judging by the size. Maybe someone who's seen this leopard before. I know a lot of you have seen them before. Maybe you can help me. Let me know how old this little cub is. But Adele, I'll tell you now, guaranteed she's not pregnant and she's not coming into estrus anytime soon. And the reason I say that is because she's still got this cub. The cub's still young. She still needs to look after it. Usually the average age for a leopard or leopard cub to leave the mother is about 1.5 years. That's the average age. Usually if it's a bit younger, 1 year old, it's touch and go whether they're going to survive or not. Okay, so this little cub's 10 months old already, so older than I thought, but still very reliant on the adult of Shadow. So Shadow will not be, she wouldn't have mated or come into estrus yet. Okay, now I'm going to sit a little bit longer. It's such a nice sighting. Great to see this interaction. The cub, very curious. But Scott has got beautiful cats he would like to show you in golden light.
Spotted cats, and it sounds like you've been having a great sighting with Byron, Shadow, and that young cub. So, like I say, we've just arrived. We've been on the road for just over 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes to get here, at as fast as we could possibly travel on some quite bumpy roads. And we found these cheetah who appear to be quite full-bellied. You can see all of them are panting quite heavily, and that's not because it's too hot. It's cooled down quite a bit, even though the sun is still shining, but their bellies are quite full. So I'm going to chat with one of the researchers who actually let us know that these cheetah are here to find out exactly when last they had their last meal. It could have been this morning, judging, or sometime during the day, judging by how much they are panting. So I'm not expecting huge things from them. However, I have seen these cheetah make multiple kills in a short space of time, provided they are given a good opportunity. There doesn't seem to be too much prey around the general area just yet, but it's wonderful to see them. Now, a lot of you may be asking, where is the 5th cheetah? And I don't have a clue. I can only see 4 there, and I'm pretty sure since we arrived it's only been those 4, and usually there are 5 of them. Now, you'll notice one has a collar. His name is D'Artagnan, and he's easy to distinguish, but we haven't quite worked out who the others are yet. It is definitely possible. I know you were chatting about spot patterns with Byron, and all of these cheetah will have unique spot patterns, but I personally just haven't had the time to study them close enough to work out who they are, but it is something I need to do. You can see the one on the right's calling. Did you see the one on the far right of the screen? Its mouth was kind of, there we go. Now, you may probably not be able to hear it because there's a funny car that's squealing like a pig next to us, so you're probably hearing that. And that high-pitched call that it is making sounds something almost like a bird chirping. Choo! Choo! So I'm guessing they're looking for the other cheetah. I wonder where it is. It probably is off in that direction where it's looking. Hello, Riti. You would like to know, how often do these cheetah need to eat? And it really does depend. It can be every 24 to 36 hours as a kind of general rule, and that is over the last 3 or 4 months that I've been lucky enough to spend quite a lot of time with these guys. I've worked out that from one meal to the next is usually a 24 to 36 hour period. Like I said earlier, though, the first morning we ever spent with them, they killed a wildebeest, a young wildebeest, before sunrise. fed on it. Got most of it into their bellies, but a hyena did steal kind of the end bits of it. And then later that morning, about 3 or 4 hours later, a lone gnu stumbled past them, a single youngster that had obviously lost the herd, and they walloped that one and ate that too. So it does fluctuate hugely, but on average every 24 to 36 hours with these guys. And I haven't spent much time, or nearly as much time with other cheetahs. Sure, that flies are giving me a hard time. There's lots of them. Maybe I should just let them be. But I haven't spent much time with Malika or other cheetah in this area, so I don't have as good a knowledge on those individuals as these guys. But I'm guessing it's fairly similar. I guess, though, Riti, as you know, with all predators, it's as and when a good opportunity presents itself to them, they will take it. And I guess they're not quite as they don't monopolize on the situation as much as the lions do when the going's good. I think cheetah are not quite as greedy and may not kill as many animals in one sitting as prides of lion do, especially during the migration months, but they certainly will eat as much as they possibly can. I really wonder what has happened to the 5th cheetah, and it'll be wonderful to see it bounding back to join them. With 5 males that are a relatively new coalition, there is lots of... You'll notice that one's limping, that one that just moved, and I'm pretty sure, it could be the same one that was limping a couple of weeks ago when I was last here with them. So that's interesting to take note of, and again, I'm going to try and spend some time with a researcher who does spend a lot of time across here. Old Helena. Let's show Helena to everyone. She's parked nearby with a big boom microphone sticking out of her car. That's Helena. Let's see if I can get away from her. No, I think she's looking at the cheetah. And what she's doing with that massive microphone is she's been doing research for many, many years on cheetah and their vocalizations, and she's trying to work out what exactly these cheetah are saying to one another. So she's doing some really interesting research, and this will be a great opportunity for her to capture these cheetah trying to call their missing individual. I'm wondering now if you might be able to hear them call. Let's listen carefully. Listen very carefully, because the audio is coming through quite strongly now, and I would like you to hear this call. You may just pick it up. If it turns its head toward...
Well, hello everybody. We're back, sort of. We don't have communication with the outside world. Well, we do, but via a mobile device. But I'm not going to do too much talking because I'm sure you've all missed the sound of the wildebeest. So, volumes up, please. Tell your children to keep quiet, your birds to stop singing, and have a listen to the chorus of the gnus. It's a very soft hum at the moment, isn't it? Not really too much noise going on just yet, but I suspect that that's going to change. They get really, really loud, of course, when a lion walks through the middle of the herd of them, and then it's a deafening sound, well, between them crying out and shouting lion, lion, and also their feet stamping down on the ground. It makes it particularly difficult to hear anything else that's going on. Even the distress call of an animal could become drowned out with the sound of these thousands of wildebeest. Now, you won't be able to see all of them, but we are surrounded by wildebeest 360 degrees. So we're around the Mara River, Purungut Bridge, the Mara Bridge. So there's wildebeest north of the bridge, west of the bridge, east of the bridge, and also south in Tanzania. There are huge herds on their way, and there is a massive storm coming in from the south. It's been building up for most of the afternoon now, and it seems to be getting closer and closer. I chatted to all the fellas at the gate at the Mara Bridge, and they said there is big rains coming tonight, which is kind of good news. I'm excited by that, because the more rain we have, the greener the grass gets, and the wildebeest are going to continue moving about, but they are everywhere. Now, what I haven't succeeded in finding yet this afternoon is a cat. Can you believe it? Can you believe that I cannot find a lion amongst all of this? Actually, I've just seen something. Where are you? No, you are not a lion. You are too tall to be a lion. You are a giraffe. They're very far away though, but I'm looking out around here. I haven't seen too many people in the park, so I haven't really been able to ask them if anything has been spotted in the terms of lions, leopard or cheetah. Everybody's just been after the crossings at the moment because they've been crossing into the triangle, which is good, and hopefully from the triangle, from the southern tip, they're going to start making their way north and cover the plains in the valley just below Maasai, which will be quite cool, don't you think? But there's a couple of Thompsons and gazelle here and there, not too many zebra. I am just very excited to be surrounded by so many wildebeest. Now, I do apologize, I'm not able to take questions, but shall we just check? Should we check on the mobile device what Rebecca says? Rebecca says, or I was communicating with Rebecca, Megan is directing her, but I still just have live. Just double checking. The signal is not great out here either, so there's a bit of a delay too, but it's just really is great to be surrounded by all these animals again, and I think we're going to get lucky over the next few days. I can't stop looking. I know I'm supposed to look at the camera, but it's so hard when there's so many animals about. We might even get a spectacular sunset. This could be quite a nice spot. We need to get lower than the wildebeest so we can start doing silhouettes again. Silhouetted shots of the animals are my favorite. Now, what we're going to do, we're probably going to go and check around to see if we can find a car and find out if there were any lions. We'll just find some lions. Jamie has not seen a cat today in the northern parts of the triangle. Let's go see how she feels about it.
Oh, I'm not looking for cats. I did actually see a cat on my way down. Well, that's an exaggeration. I saw where the cars were parked at the lions. But I'm not looking for cats today. Today I'm following the tail of the buffalo. And if it happens to include cats, well, that's probably going to mean a sad end for the buffalo. So I'm kind of hoping to avoid them for this afternoon, which I shouldn't say. But I am. I completely am. I'm hoping, I know we shouldn't choose sides and all of that, and it is all part of nature, but I'm rooting for the buffalo. And I'm rooting for her two little ones as well, as they've shown a great deal of loyalty. Well, I suppose it's instinct, but that's the human part of our interpretation. We're still going round. It was a long way around one very large drainage line with very steep sides, and I had a road up until recently, but it was taking me in the wrong direction. So I've abandoned the road, and we are going off on a quest of faith through the slightly long grass. I don't know about those hundreds of wildebeest that Taylor's with, but if they want to come here, there's plenty of grass still, lots and lots of it. It's really all neatly packed around the holes that the tires keep finding. So I know where I'm going, and I memorized the tree that I'm looking for as a landmark, because it does get a bit confusing on occasion. There's also some large elephants that will help us find them again. They also work quite well as landmarks. Moving landmarks, though, which is not really a feature of a landmark that you want when you're trying to find your way. I think up here, let me just drive at the sun. Should see me go the right way. A long, bumpy non-road. It'll be worth it, though. If should still be okay. Signal for a bit long. I just want to see her get to the herd. Even if we're not very close to her, even if we're very far away, I just want to see her get to the safety of the herd for tonight. The sun is a ticking timer for her. Once it's dark, it's going to be that much harder. She's probably following the rest of the herd by scent. Even a human being can almost follow a buffalo herd by scent. You can really smell them. It's a very, very, that many essentially cows packed together. They create a very distinctive scent, and I've found them before by nose. So if I can do it, she can. All right, we're going to continue on our... Oh, I found another road. Continue on our very long trek in the direction of the buffalo. In the meantime, Byron hasn't moved very far at all. He's still with Shadow and her cub.
We have indeed stayed in this position. However, the leopards have moved, so Shadow's just moving around. And you can see she's still got that little bit of a limp, but obviously hasn't affected her. She'd just come back to lie in the shade. Now, the reason she moved is that hyena moved off but dragged some. Oh, there's the cub. I'm sorry, it's just moving out in the open, straight ahead of us. The little cub moving there, straight towards that hyena. Well, the hyena dragged the carcass off in that direction, not far from where it was, just dragged it a little bit, trying to get it away from the leopards, because as it moved, the leopards, both leopards, and especially Shadow, got up. She was possibly trying to see if she could get that carcass back. Now, I must be honest. We had a better look at that carcass. There wasn't much left on it, and when I had a look, it looked far too small to be that of a Inyala. I don't know. There wasn't much left on it. I don't know if it was an Inyala or if it was in fact just a big male impala. Tristan might shout at me later if I get it wrong. But I want to try and see that carcass again. For when he dragged it away, that hyena dragged it away, it looked like an impala, I must be honest. I know Tristan said it looked like an Inyala this morning, but I don't know what view he had. Oh, that hyena just chased the cub. See, that cub just got a little too close. But you see how quick and agile that cub is. And the female hasn't even moved. Shadow is still lying here, not phased at all. She's enjoying the shade. It's a wonderful interaction, though. I'm really enjoying this, and don't really have to say much. You can just sit here and watch it all unfold and see what happens. That cub isn't giving up. Keeps going closer. Keeps wanting to get a little scrap. H. Macy, you say, what a brave little cub. This is a brave cub. Taking on that hyena. Well, not quite taking it on, but testing the boundaries, I suppose you could say. It's a bit of a cool breeze at the moment, slight cool breeze. It's wonderful. It's really wonderful. Okay, well, I'm going to sit with these leopards and hyena a little bit longer. Let's head back all the way to the Mara, and Scott's got some signal, and he's got cheetahs on the move. Let's go have a look.
Now, you'll notice this cheetah's limping as well, and 3 others. So 3 out of the 4 that we've seen are limping. The 4th one seems okay. The 5th one is missing. And what's interesting is that these 5 males did kill another young 4-year-old male cheetah recently. And who knows what kind of a mess they got themselves into last night. Yesterday afternoon, all 5 of them were seen together, all in okay condition. Now there are only 4, 3 of which are limping. Across lions or a leopard, who knows what could have happened, but they certainly have had a rough night last night. Is calling out wildly, desperately trying to find that other coalition member. It's actually very, very sad to watch. You can see they're panicked, distressed, limping along, moving quite quickly. just the rate that it's calling at emphasizes how distressed this animal is and how focused it is on trying to find that other coalition member. It's definitely this individual that's the most. It's definitely, listen to that call, that's really interesting. But the more grrr, grrr that you can hear it making in between every now and then. Now what's fascinating is, why is this individual?
Yeah, it sounds like our signal is a bit dodgy in the Mara at the moment, but have a look. This hyena's moving away. Now, let's see what that little cub does. The hyena chased the cub again because it got a little too close, but let's see. I think that little cub is going to try and sneak up towards that kill again. That hyena is very protective over that kill at the moment. Doesn't want to lose it, even though it seems pretty full. Quite a lot to eat there. I'm just staying here for now. I don't want to move any closer because that hyena's chasing the cub around, and obviously don't want to get in the way. Oh, I think, the little cub's up in the tree. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful view. See, that little leopard cub knows the best way to get away from a hyena is just to climb a tree. The hyena's now moving off. Now let's see what happens. I've got a feeling this little cub will climb down and head towards that kill. Beautiful long tail. The hyena's moving off now. I think it's decided it's had enough to eat. Probably not interested in chasing a young cub. Now Shadow's moving. Hold on, she's very close to us. Watch out. Don't move too much, Liam. Don't want the leopard growling at you. There we go. She's right in front of us now. It's amazing. It's almost as if she heard that. Well done, Liam. Through the bull bar. There she goes. It's amazing how intelligent these animals are. Look, the cub's climbing down the tree now too. There it goes. Let's move a bit closer. Hold on, let me move closer. Now, Rita, you were asking, why isn't Shadow being a bit more protective over a cub? Well, she doesn't need to. Cub's 10 months old. It can basically take care of itself to an extent in terms of getting away from predators. It can run and jump up into a tree if it wants to. So there's no need for her to be very or overly protective. Let's just have a look over here. Now they're just in front of us. Just parked in a hole view. So Riti, I think because this cub is a little bit older, there's no reason for her to be overly protective. Let's have a look. I think she might steal this, not steal, but pull that kill out of the long grass. Let's see. It would be wonderful if she hoisted this kill for us. There. Now look at that. Let's see. Is it a? You know what I think it is? I just saw stripes. I think it is an Inyala. But doesn't look like a full-grown Inyala. I don't see any horns. Let's see, hold on. The mystery of the kill. I doubt Tristan would have got it wrong. Rib cages, but you see, it's not a... I mean, she's doing very well at dragging it. And there's very little of that kill left. Little cub's busy holding or pulling on there. Can you see? It looks like an impala to me. It's so mangled and there's just a rib cage at the moment. Look at that. What do you think, Wiem? Impala? Huh? Where are the horns now? They might still be here, so we'll have a look in the bush off to our left when we move. Okay. I wonder... Just trying to have a look for him. If she decides to hoist that kill, where is she going to hoist it now? Let's see, we'll just see. Sorry, I'm just looking around, everyone. I want to see where I need to move if she decides to hoist that kill. H. Macy, have a look. That tree behind us, maybe that marula. Let's see. Let's have a look now. Just want to let Andrew know, because she's looking up at that tree. We've fortunately got a view of her. I wonder if she's... So H. Macy, you were asking, is climbing up a tree learnt behavior, or I think it's instinct, to be honest. I think a lot of it's instinct, but yes, they do learn from their parents, and the leopards, young leopards learn from their parents, and they experiment and they explore and they try their best to work on their agility, really, I suppose. Let's see what she does. I'm going to move shortly. I'm just waiting for that other vehicle to move. Okay, hold on a second. Let's try to get a quick view of this. Don't want to miss her going up the tree if she does decide to take it up. Let's have a look from here. This is a lovely little spot for us. I'm also trying to see if I can see the horns of this anywhere, this kill. See if I can see what it was. Sorry, last station, go again, please. Yeah, A-firm, Henry, you can make your way in as a third. Just myself and Andrew here at the moment. Both animals still on site. There are obviously some tourists around here too that are enjoying the sighting with us. It's always nice. Like I say, I'm always happy when I see people out on safari and they get to enjoy these wonderful sightings with us. Look, she's still just in front of us, Shadow. And looking around, she was looking up into that tree. Now, I wonder if her little injury doesn't hinder her a little bit. And perhaps Yeah, see now the little cub's moving over there. So as I was saying, I wonder if that little injury doesn't prevent her from climbing as well as she usually would, hoisting kills into trees. Scott, you were asking why lions live in prides and leopards are solitary. Well, they form a different role in nature, Scott, different predators. It makes sense for the leopards to move around by themselves. They're secretive animals. They're not animals that are out in open clearings as much as the lions are. They don't hunt together. So like the lions hunting prides, different role in nature. You need to remember, every animal out here has a specific role, a specific niche or niche, if you want to call it that. Every animal forms part of an ecosystem. So it's vital that each one fills a different role. Otherwise, you'd have too much competition. It's interesting that she decided not to hoist that kill into the tree. I still can't see these horns. I'm now very curious. I want to solve this mystery. We'll have a look around here. But in the meantime, let's head back to Jamie in the Mara and let's see how her drive is going through the Mara. I know she was looking for buffalo. Let's see if she's got any closer.
I've lost her. Well, I mean, I haven't. That's not possible. But I've arrived at the place where she was, and I can't find her. So I can see some giraffe. How far could she have got in the time that it's taken us to get here? Pretty far, actually, by the speed she was moving. I'm trying to see if I can find some fresh buffalo dung. I can see the herd, so I can assume she's moving in that direction. They're the giraffe and the large trees that I was using as a landmark, and the buffalo herd is over there. So she's somewhere around here, but I'm proceeding with great caution because I don't know if she's perhaps decided to lie down for a bit of a rest, and I don't want to surprise her or startle her behind one of these little croton thickets. Where's she gone? Any ideas, anyone? I don't know. Joshua, who is our ranger for the evening, says, right, I agree. She's going to go that way. She's definitely going to go that way. And she'd made it quite far when we saw her being surrounded by the elephants. That's a stump. The sun's not helping me. I think that's a stump. Yeah, it's a stump. There's some ellies. We are that much closer to the herd, and she's not back the way we came, which means she's getting there. She's getting there. The sun is setting, but she could make it. And if she makes it there, her chances of surviving the night are increased probably tenfold, because the herd will chase predators, whether they be hyenas or lions. They might not be able to save her, but they will chase them. Okay, girl, what was going to be your route? Which way would you go? Elephant watching me. Listen, have you seen a buffalo? I'm not after you, I'm after the buffalo. There. No, that's no, it's an elephant. Chem mix, yes, that's also possible. It's entirely possible. I thought that little elephant was a buffalo. It's entirely possible that she's lying down. She might have decided to have a rest. I'm essentially where we left her, which means she's either here, lying down behind one of the bushes, or she's still on the move. I imagine she's going to be pushing to try and catch up with that herd. Surely her instinct is driving her to try and get back to them before night falls. So while it is entirely possible she is resting, it depends on how sore she's feeling, how exhausted she's feeling. That's where she's going to want to be, and it's a long way. Okay. Sun's setting at an alarming rate. If it gets dark, it's going to be very hard for us to find her. No. Right it is, everyone. Right it is. I could safely say this is the first time I've ever followed one buffalo for such an extended period of time. There's elephants. I'm just focusing quite hard and making sure there's not a flick of a tail or something behind one of these bushes that I'm driving past. You wouldn't think it would be possible to lose something as large as a buffalo, would you? It is. It did take us quite a while to get here, though. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Megs, I'm sorry. You broke up a little bit there. Let me try stopping so you can try that question. Let me see if I can hear you. There we go. So, Monique, you want to know if she would possibly call the herd and if they would come back to her. She wouldn't call them. If she happened to be distressed in some way, obviously she is distressed, but if she happened to be being chased by lions, she might make a distress call that might attract the herd. Might. It's unlikely, though, at the distance that they're at, the distance away from her. She wouldn't call, and they wouldn't then come to her now without any particular reason. You know, just in the same way that they haven't waited for her to try and catch up with them. Oh, dear. She must have moved faster than I thought she did. Or thought she could, actually. She must be further along. Oh, and this weather's not going to help her either. The clouds... Okay, that looks fine. That looks absolutely fine. That's actually quite pretty. The clouds across that way are enormous. It's a new name for enormous cumulus clouds. Enormous clouds. Enormous cumulus clouds. That's not going to help her case. All right, come on. Can't have lost a buffalo. That's ridiculous. Not possible. Not possible. I don't lose a... follow lions at night and cheetah at night. Can't possibly have lost a buffalo. To move through quite uneven terrain with the odd unexpected hole. Wait. Buffalo or bush?
Do you have service? I've got nothing.
Yeah, I've got 2 bells.
Okay. Will you just tell Chantal I'm out of luck now? I have no reception to communicate with you. Thanks. Oh, we're live. Hello, everybody. Sorry. I'm just discussing how I don't have any reception. So poor Sebastian is now trying to operate the camera, which he does very well, and then also communicate with Final Control. So this should be interesting, although my signal keeps popping back and forth again. Okay, perfect. So sorry about that. But how gorgeous is this scene? So we were struggling with comms, but I could not pass this opportunity up to show you the most gorgeous views. Isn't that incredible? And there's even a couple of buffalo. I think they were just to... Can you see the buffalo? Just to... I think they're to the left. I saw... There we go. Keep going left. Panning left. There we go. Can you see them? buffalo amongst the wildebeest. That's quite cool. I thought I saw a calf, and then I thought, that's a strange shape for a wildebeest calf. That's the biggest one I've seen. But that makes a lot more sense. A couple of cows just passing through their cousins. And it is a lovely evening, except the rain is about to be upon us. I think we've probably got another 20 minutes before the rain gets us. It's a big dark cloud, and there's lightning. Actually, come, let's have a look. See, it's so beautiful. We've got this big storm, and it just keeps getting wider and wider and wider. It's sort of covering a space of that. And in this section, there's quite a bit of lightning, but you can see this is where all the rain is. Let's see if we can get a little bit of lightning. Might be able to hear the rumbling of the thunder too. Look at that. Come on, lightning. All we need is one big flash. That's always one of the hardest shots to get. I find the city slickers that have enough time and can set up tripods end up getting the most spectacular shots from rooftops. I've tried. Not very good, though. It's very difficult. I once got a picture on my phone, but that's about it. And that was a still from a video. Sneaky. And now there's not so much lightning, but it is big rains, and it's coming slowly. It's not racing towards us. But we're going to keep going on. We're going to head maybe down towards sort of silos, which is in that section, and see if we can't find a leopard or perhaps a lion. Maybe we'll see some more wildebeest. I'm going to send you back across to South Africa with Byron, who's got a spotted cat.
We do indeed still have our beautiful cats lying in the grass. And Shadow has decided not to go back to the kill. The little cub is feeding at the moment. We can just see the tail curled in the long grass there at the moment. A bit of movement. There you go. See that? There we go. Chewing on the carcass. I think that's why that little cub was so intent on getting close to the kill while that hyena was feeding. No sign of that hyena again, or any other hyena. I think that hyena had its fill. I do think this is an impala kill, everyone, that they have made. We had a bit of a better look, and it looked like an impala kill. But you can see both these leopards have fed very well. So two very full bellies, which is great. Sun's starting to go down a little bit. It's not quite as hot as it was when we got here earlier. This is such a nice sight, and it's actually peaceful. You don't really have to say too much about this. You can just enjoy it. Now we've got that beautiful golden light coming through on that young leopard at the moment. Snazzy, no, you can't say they really shared the kill. I mean, these leopards fed on this kill this morning, and then when that hyena came in, they obviously moved away, and that, especially that young cub, you could see it was quite nervous of that hyena. Well, not nervous, kept its distance. It was careful and cautious. But that hyena got to feed, basically filled its belly and moved off, and then the leopard then stole the kill back, I suppose you could call it that. And dragged it away from where the hyena dragged it. So you can't say they shared, Snazzy, not at all. And you, however, when was it? A few months ago, a month or two ago, I think it was Ellie. She had a young male leopard feeding on a kill while a hyena was feeding on a kill, and that's very unusual behavior. It just shows, and I always say that to guests, and that you can never say something will never happen out here. So never say never. It's my tip of the day. But it just shows that things, unusual behavior can happen in the wild with these wild animals. No, Justin, you actually asked where was my tip of the day and where have they gone. I think maybe I should start it again. I'll think about it, Justin. I gave so many tips. Maybe I was running out of tips, but I think I'll think of something again. Maybe bring it back. You can see the flies bothering her at the moment. Using a tail and see the tail flicking backwards and forwards a little bit there too, trying to get the flies off of her. It's amazing how this sighting has changed. We've been sitting here from early on in the drive and we saw some feeding activity. Now, I wonder if she didn't hear something behind me. I'm just having a look. I can't see anything for now. See how she just sat up there very, very quickly. As I was saying, the sighting's changed, and I suppose the questions have died down a bit in terms of what is going to happen, because the hyenas moved off, and when we got here, there was hyena feeding, female in the shade, and cub trying to get closer. Now it's calmed down. The cub's getting to feed, female's lying in the shade, cooling down, still panting very heavily. As I said, that's obviously a way that the leopards keep themselves cool. They pant, especially with these very full bellies at the moment. There's a Koki francolin calling in the distance. There's some crested francolins calling too. Some wonderful sounds while we're sitting here. There's a spider hunting wasp buzzing around. Vanessa, I wouldn't say those leopard tails are bushy. You asked why they're bushy and have a white tip, so I wouldn't say they're really bushy, but they do have that prominent white tip or white tip on the end, underneath the tail. Now, there are a few theories behind that. The one theory and the main theory is so that they can be made more visible, and that is especially with females, for example, when they're walking through the long grass and they've got cubs and they want the cubs to follow them, they can lift their tail and flick the tail, and it'll be easier for the cubs to see them and follow them through the long grass. The other theory is, again, along the lines of visibility and making themselves more visible. I've seen many times when leopards are stalking prey or moving through an area, if something sees them and starts alarm calling at leopards, they'll lift their tail and they curl their tail up. And basically what that is trying to make themselves more visible, showing that they're not a threat. They're just passing through. So leopards use their tails for that. The other thing the tail is used for, and probably the most important use of the tail, is for balance. Now that tail is very thick and very muscular, so they can use their tail for balance when they're climbing up and down trees. So that's the most important use of the tail. But that bushy white tip, I think it's mainly for visibility and because of those various reasons that I've given you. And it looks nice. Still a lovely cool breeze at the moment. Alison, no, I don't think that cub's tail's longer than usual. I think it's an average length for a 10-month-old cub. Don't think it's too long, not at all. I think possibly just the way it's lying maybe and flicking it back over the body. Again, I'm just sitting so that you can enjoy some of the sounds around us, and I think this is just such a wonderful, peaceful sighting. You know, it's not always. I don't think sightings always have to be intense and too much drama. It's nice just to enjoy wonderful, peaceful sightings like a female leopard and a cub feeding. It's nice and calm. Now I know the sun is setting up in the Mara, and they're a bit ahead of us, and Scott is sitting enjoying the sunset at the moment. So why don't we go across to him now and see what the view is like.
Hello everyone, and welcome on board again. Sorry, we've been in a low signal area, but there's been some really interesting stuff happening here along with what is an incredibly beautiful sunset. Now, we still don't know where the fifth cheetah has gone, and basically one of them, who's calling more desperately than the others, headed off on his own, and now we don't know where the other three have gone. So I came back up into an area of signal where we left the other three, hoping that we would find them, but no joy just yet. The other individual is heading back into this area, and I can't help but say, but I fear that the fifth individual from this coalition may be dead. Judging by the frequency of its calls, you can just see this one individual is seriously concerned about trying to find its other coalition member. I've never seen any behavior, anything remotely as interesting as this with these guys just yet. The little car in front is the cheetah researcher who's also coming to us. She's also in a bit of a panic. Basically, yesterday they were seen, all five of them together in decent states. Now one is missing and three are limping very, very badly. Hello, Tatch. You would like to know if it's uncommon to have so many cheetah together. And okay, thanks, Helena. It is. It's fairly uncommon to have a coalition as big as five together, but it has been recorded in various parts of Africa before. But we must, certainly be grateful for the fact that there is a coalition this big in the area at the moment. You can possibly hear the other one calling out there. He's at about 11 o'clock there, Ferg, just to the left of that stump. And there we go. Now listen to this and watch this closely. You can see he's got a slight limp. You can see he's panicked just at the rate he's been moving, and he's been moving like this for the last half an hour. And it's a combination of this call that we're hearing as well as like that purring that you can hear now. And I'm only guessing that this possibly could tell us that this individual's brother is the one that's missing. We're not entirely sure how this coalition came to be. It could have been two brothers and three brothers from different families. Well, the good news is he is heading back towards the rest of the coalition, the other three members. Helena says they're walking down the road. Helena, are they heading down the main road? Okay, thank you. So we're going to carry on and follow along and see how lucky we get. I was planning on having an early night tonight, but I think we are going to have to try and follow these boys for as long as we can, because we're going to get some insight into some really, really interesting behavior. And who knows, maybe they'll eventually find the fifth one, take us back to his carcass if he's dead. The fact that this one, though, ran off calling in a certain direction led me to initially believe that maybe it was dead in an area and he was going to kind of go back and make sure. But maybe not. Maybe the fifth one just bombshelled when they got into whatever trouble they did get into last night. There was definitely some kind of an altercation. I'd find it hard to believe that 3 individuals would be injured hunting and a fourth one disappear. So they must have come into contact with either other cheetah, who knows, maybe lion. The injuries don't seem to be lion-like. I mean, if a lion gets a hold of a cheetah, you're going to see some very evident marks if the cheetah's lucky enough to get away.
The missing cheetah is his brother.
Yes.
Any genetic test.
Yes. Thanks. I just said that, Helena. Helena was just also confirming that the fact that this individual is searching far more insistently than the other 3 members who aren't really interested is a really, really good indicator that it is in fact 2 brothers that joined the other 3, and who knows how those other 3 were made up. Whew. Well, interesting stuff. I'm going to show you one last view of what is an incredibly beautiful scene in front of us. And once we've done that, we will be whisking you back across to Jamie on her adventures. What a magical evening it is, and what interesting stuff is going on out here. Well, you don't get a much better pink, cloudy sunset than that. I think it's fair to say. Enough of that, though. We need to keep up with these cheetah, try and work out what's going on, and send you across to Jamie while we do that.
Well, Scott keeps up with his cheetah. I've lost one buffalo with 2 broken legs, which I think is quite an achievement, personally. But we do have a really lovely view. A really, really lovely view. And I really wish I could drive in that direction because it looks really nice there. And behind me, there are the deep rumbles of thunder and one of the biggest cumulus clouds I've seen out here. Oh, well. I think at this point, as much as I would really have loved to have finished the story of the buffalo with all of you, I don't know where she's gone. I've completely lost her. I've been all the way up to the buffalo herd and back, and I can't find her. She must be lying in a bush somewhere. And, I mean, as much as I would be tempted to now check each and every single one, it's not going to be very productive. Oh, we're going to need to start covering soon. I assume it's raining back at camp. It looks like it is. I'm going to try and find us a road so that at least when the rain is done, we'll somehow be able, because I don't want to be close to this lugger. I think it's going to turn into mush very, very quickly. We might find her while we start to search for a road, you know. That side is really pretty. This side is really rather not. Uh-oh. I know, Debbie. I want a happy ending for this dramatic story as well. I'm sorry I lost her. I just cannot find her. And I don't really want to go poking around every single bush in case we... Oh, here comes the rain. In case we actually find her and we're a little bit close to her. And as I said, I do need to start scurrying for a road. I'm sort of hoping there's one somewhere over there. Okay, we need to start our covering process. What we'll do for now is we'll send you back over to South Africa to where Byron has the lovely Shadow and her lovely little one.
We do, Jamie. Well, good luck in the rain. I hope it doesn't rain too hard, that you get soaked again. I know the Mara team has been dealing with a lot of rain. I wouldn't mind some more rain. I don't think we're going to get rain for a while. It's clear skies at the moment. So we're still sitting with these beautiful leopards. They haven't moved too much. It's still a very peaceful, wonderful sighting. I'm enjoying it. I really am. Oh, that little cub is still just hiding in there. Now I think while all of you are with us, shall we see if I can try and put this debate or end this debate about what they actually killed. I'm just going to drive in here where that kill was. Let's have a look quickly. Let's have a look. See if we can just find the horn. I do think it was an impala. I know some of you were saying it seemed like a rather large horns. So let's see, because that. But if it was large horns, the color of that carcass is wrong for a male Inyala. The male Inyala would be a dark color. Let's have a look here. Can you see any horns anywhere, Liam? Or isn't it back here maybe? I can't see any horns anywhere. I don't see anything now. We'll have to. Yeah, the horns are. It's an impala. There we go. Horns are right here off to my left. There we go. Those are the big horns. You can see the top of the. It is a big male impala that she managed to kill. That's all it was. Not all. You can see the fresh top of the skull. So that was broken off when that hyena dragged the kill. So there we go. Confirmed. 100% male impala that she managed to kill. So possibly just a big male, and that's why it looked a little bit larger, or in the long grass. If I park here, we might get a nice view of the cub feeding. Here we go. There we are. There we go. Nice view. The cub hasn't stopped feeding, trying to get as much of that meat as possible. Beautiful little face, look at those big eyes. Very, very cute little cub. It looks like it's doing very well. It looks healthy. So this female leopard has done well, even despite her injury, and we've seen she's still got that little limp. But she still managed to hunt and do very well for herself and feed herself and her cub. Spara, you say you enjoyed the seemingly peaceful interaction between the leopard and hyena, and it was. Spara, I agree. It was interesting that the hyena got to feed, and the little cub was stalking the kill and look how full that belly is now. And this little cub was trying to get closer, and the hyena would kind of mock charge, I suppose you could call it, towards the cub. The cub would run away and the hyena would go back to feeding. Then the hyena left the kill, the cub ran, and the hyena ran back and chased the cub. So very playful for a moment, which was interesting. And like I said, I think this 10-month-old cub is probably safer than a obviously a 2-month or 3-month-old cub. And like I said, despite Karula's previous litter that was lost to hyena, very seldom. I'm just trying to think now. No, I actually think there was an incident on Londolozi last year, I think, with a hyena that came in and grabbed a leopard cub, if I'm not mistaken. But as I was saying, just chatting to one of the trackers, it happens seldom. I think a lot more seldom than we think. A lot of people are always very, very cautious and careful of hyena around leopard cubs. Yeah, of course they've got to be careful, but they tend to hide very well. They can climb trees well from a young age. As long as the hyena don't surprise them, they'll get out of the way. I wonder if Shadow is now going to go and feed. It's interesting though with leopards, even the females and their cubs, very seldom do you see the female and cubs feeding at the same time. Leopards like just feeding on their own. They don't like to share the food very often. But I have seen females and cubs feeding together before. So it does happen. And as you know, we've seen a leopard and a hyena feeding at the same time. Now let's have a look and see what this female decides to do. Does she want to hoist this kill? Now that we're losing a bit of light, that would make my day to see her hoist this. She's looking up into the tree. So get ready, everyone. Maybe we are going to see her hoist the kill. Now, Cape Turtle Dove, you were asking if Shadow doesn't take the kill into the tree, do I think the cub will take the kill into the tree? No. I can almost guarantee that won't happen, because that little cub is still very, very young, and chances of the cub deciding to take the kill into the tree, it's not powerful enough yet anyway to do that. So if anyone decides to hoist this kill, it will be Shadow. But by watching the female, the cub will learn, and when it's old enough and strong enough, then yes, then it will, but not yet. As the little cub just moved a bit closer to us. Sorry, it's still very, very hot. I need a little sip of water every now and then. And it's really special. I mean, we've been lucky this afternoon. We haven't really needed to drive around very far, but there's been a lot going on here. And I always think, even if I've got guests, look, if it's first timers out to Africa, then you do want to see as much as you can, but you also want to appreciate each sighting. There's nothing I dislike more than racing from one sighting to another, because I think you lose out on the actual experience and a lot of animal behavior. I think it's important to sit and enjoy each sighting, take your time, take it all in, see what the behavior is. If there really isn't anything, then move on. But a lot of guests in the past with me, we've ended up doing just this, sitting, enjoying a sighting, and this would have been perfect. Great photographic opportunity. There was a lot going on. It would have been nice to see. For any guest, I think. Now, James, you asking what is the most unusual kill I've seen a female leopard make? James, a python, a big African rock python. That's got to be. Oh, have a look. Is she going to hoist it? Watch. Just keep looking. She's watching, looking up into that tree. Now she'll have to get a good grip first before she decides to do that. But she definitely looks like she wants to do that. Watch. Oh, go. Oh, look at that power. Amazing. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Hey? That was great. Do you see? And as I was saying, sitting and taking your time in sightings pays off, because then you'll get to see behavior like this. Now let's see how she's going to drape it over that branch. But did you see, that wasn't an easy climb for her. She really had to grab onto that tree, onto that marula. But she's done well now. She's hoisted it. Oh, that's such a lovely view of her. Perfect way to end off the afternoon, just as the sun sets. Well done, Shadow. That was... Lisa and Karen, you really enjoyed that. You were saying how amazing it was to see that. That's special. You know, you don't always see leopards hoisting their kill into trees. At times you either miss it because they do it at night, or you get there and the kill's already been hoisted, or sometimes they just feed on the ground. So to witness that power and to see her climbing up. Here she comes. Is she going to climb down now, or try and get more of that carcass up there? Or balancing better on the branches. But look how agile she is. Even with her slight limp that she's got. You could actually hear the claws digging into the trunk of that tree, pulling herself and the carcass up. I've got so much respect for these animals in terms of how powerful they are. Oh, now she's just showing off. This is fantastic. Oh, Laura Moore, you were saying you notice how they know where to place the kills in the tree and to balance them. They do. So that's why I think, you know, when you see these leopards looking up into the tree like she did earlier, just assessing, looking at the branches, trying to see where she's going to take the kill up. Now, and so they do. I mean, they definitely think about it before they just do it. And they also, if you see leopards jumping in and out of trees enough times, you can kind of gauge. They'll look for the easiest way up. So I thought she would go up this side of the tree because the tree is leaning slightly away from us. So it will be easier for her to kind of climb up this side as opposed to the other side, where it would then cause a bit of an overhang. So this was a bit easier for her to get up. More from this side, in fact. Proud Cat Mama, you asked how much meat can these leopards eat. Well, it depends. A little cub will obviously eat far less than an adult, but you know, they can probably 4 or 5 kilograms of meat in a sitting would be a lot for a leopard, I would say. Maybe a big male will eat a bit more, but yeah, on average between 2 and 5 kilograms, I'd say, somewhere around there. We seem to be having some technical issues in the Mara, I think possibly because of the rain. So you are stuck with VM and I and this wonderful leopard sighting. I suppose it could be worse. Have you? Viam's really happy. He always tells me before we go out that we have to see big cats. Viam's the biggest big cat fan I think I've ever driven. So Viam's happy he got to see a leopard. Are you happy, Viam?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Viam's happy. That's good. As long as Viam's happy, I'm happy. The cub seems happy. Roshni, you're asking why Viam is known as the wildebeest. It's because Roshni is very territorial. Roshni, I'm only joking. I think the story in Viam, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a few years back there was the calving season. So I just heard a noise back there. Calving season for the wildebeest, and I think wildebeest got to film one of the wildebeest giving birth. Is that right? And then it became his radio call sign apparently, and then the nickname just stuck. So that's where the nickname comes from. Nancy, you asked if I think Shadow hoisted the kill just because of the hyena. I think that's definitely one of the reasons, and probably the main reason. Now, Nancy, the reason these leopards hoist the kill is to keep it out of reach of other predators, so nothing can get to it. Now, we saw the other day that doesn't always work. Those lions climbed up into a tree and stole the carcass from Tingana, that big male leopard. But generally speaking, it's safe up in a tree. Nothing else will get there, bar a leopard. Hyenas can't climb, so they can't get up there to get to that carcass. So it's definitely to save the carcass from hyena. Isn't that a great image? Impala kill in the tree and beautiful female leopard enjoying the view. And I also think she's lying up there because it's probably a bit cooler to get away from some of the flies. There might be a bit of a breeze up there, a little slight breeze. That breeze that we had earlier has actually died down. But she'll be enjoying the view from up there. Must be honest, it's really thirsty work out here. Our water is depleting rapidly. So, it's so funny how nature works at times, and a lot of you have heard me say this many times before about just the being patient and enjoying a sighting, and I always say I don't like that term flat cat because these big cats will do something at some point, and you never know when. So I never use that term, but just sitting here and enjoying the sighting this afternoon, and I said it was so peaceful, and just appreciating the cub feeding and the female lying close by, and then she decided to treat us with hoisting the kill into the tree. That little tail. Can tell. I see that tail is a little bit more fluffy than the adult tail. Well, I'm glad she did hoist it into the tree, so she'll probably be able, her and the cub will be able to get every little last piece of that carcass. But both of them look very well fed, which is good. So I'm happy that they both fed on that carcass. They both had a lot of food. You can see that little belly of that youngster. Okay, well, it sounds like the Mara tech issues have been fixed, hopefully. Now, Taylor has got her spotlights out already. Let's go and see what she's trying to find.
Oh, sorry everyone, I was just having a conversation with Sebastian. We've got some very small little antelope. I'm not going to keep the spotlight on for them for too long. It's just too far away for our infrared to get them, unfortunately. But there's a pair of dik-diks just moving around. They've actually come out now, out of the thickets where they normally hide during most of the time during the day. And they're coming out to feed, which is quite cool. So they use the cover of darkness. You imagine when they're that small. It's a bit on the tough side. And have a little listen. You can hear a montane nightjar. You can also hear a couple of bubbling casinas too. They're blooping away. You see, just hiding away behind the trees. Now, these little creatures are so small. Many things will try and snatch them up. And I'm going to just take the spotlight off him now. One of the many things actually lives in amongst these riverine thickets, which is quite exciting because we're looking for a leopard at the moment, but we have not found a leopard just yet. Now, we have a big problem because we have a storm coming from the south, and we also have a storm coming from the east at the moment, and northeast, and they're sort of moving in the direction we are, and I think we're going to be sandwiched together between two storms, which is not good. So we're hanging relatively close around camp. There's a lot of lightning going on. We don't mind the rain, but being stuck out in a lightning storm with all these aerials and wires is not always a good thing, and it's lightning not just on the one side, but it's coming from both sides. So what we're going to do now, I think we're actually going to turn around. We're going to hug the river all the way back again and see if we give it another squiz if we can find something. But it's been actually a really beautiful evening. It's just a pity about the communication problem, but I think Megan is still around. I was chatting to her just now, which was quite nice. But tomorrow I think is going to be quite exciting. I'm hoping. Where are my lights gone? Thought I almost didn't have any lights. So we're going to explore tomorrow morning. We're not going to stay out tonight just because of the storm. It's too bad. It's really going to be a silly move staying out in this. So we're going to head out as early as we can, and we're going to go back towards the river area. And hopefully we're either going to see some crossings or maybe... Listen. That's exciting. Did you hear the lion roaring? That sounds like a big male. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit quietly. I'm going to keep listening. I'm going to see if I can hear anybody responding if that's close by. Jamie sounds like she's zipped up in her tent.
I don't really have an update at all. I can tell you that we're driving towards the storm to try and find ourselves the main road. We've managed to find a little two-track, which is difficult to see. It is very difficult to see exactly where to go. So hopefully Taylor manages to find that lion that's roaring. I don't think I'm going to hear anything. I think we might have been a bit premature with the covers, given that it hasn't rained a drop yet. But maybe not. When it comes quickly. So at some point we will find the main road. I just did want to get onto it before the rain hits, because we're very, very close to call it a drainage system is basically its truest term, because it becomes very, very marshy when it rains in this area, and I didn't want us to get stuck off road where the soils become bogged down exceptionally fast. But it's creepy driving along here because all I can see is the lightning flashes and I can sort of see the road, and that's it. Craig's got a little window open on the side that he can glance out of every now and again. There we go, there's the window. Although it's now pretty much without any purpose. There we go. Well done, Craig, that's awesome. Sort of. So there you go, that's our little peephole. Because I really thought the storm was going to hit us soon. So we went full covers down to test out our new rain covers. It hasn't yet. I don't know if it's raining back at the Mara camp, but it would give me a good idea as to the exact gauge of how quickly this water is going to hit us, if it's going to hit us. And of course, because of the strength of the wind, thanks Chantal. So apparently it is raining there, which means it is coming. Apparently, oh no, the strength of the wind, it means that we have to have our cover extending over the windscreen. Now this rain cover has been a work of art, let me tell you. A work of art and a work of conflict at times, as we've all come together to decide exactly what it is we need to keep us dry, and more importantly, if I'm honest, to keep the equipment dry. But it does mean that your driving window is small, and if you're Brent, I'm not sure how he'll see it all. I'm hoping as well that there's no elephants on either side, because I won't see them. All right. Well, it's very warm here in the Mara still. Oh, I felt I think I sensed the first drop of rain. I hope I didn't feel it. It has been very warm in the Mara, but of course not nearly as hot as it's been back on Djuma.
Yeah, well, I doubt it's as hot as it's been here. Today it was 34 degrees Celsius. That's we've just gone into the 90s, I suppose, Fahrenheit. So very, very warm. And just change position slightly. Have a look at this beautiful little cub. Oh, now it sounds like, now you won't believe this. Now we've been sitting here for quite a while, but about 4 minutes ago we heard another leopard calling. The roar or saw, if you want, of a leopard calling behind us. It sounded like it was coming from Twin Dams area. I'm not sure. It wasn't that close to where we are, but it was close enough that we could hear. I also don't think it's that far, if that makes any sense. I would say it's probably about 400 or 500 meters away, somewhere around there. But these leopards didn't stir, so obviously didn't. Look how she's sitting in that branch, on that branch. And that's not the only thing, though. Sorry, that's... She's really just sitting in the tree. Now, that wasn't the only update. They've just managed to find the wild dogs. I know they were south of our boundary this morning, and they've just run onto Djuma. But we're losing light now, and now to try and get all the way across to that side to try and get to see wild dogs as it's getting dark, it's almost impossible. So hopefully they stick around for tomorrow morning, and we'll try have a look. Maybe we can find them tomorrow morning. But it's amazing. There's a lot going on, which is good. So as I say, hopefully those wild dogs hang around. But knowing the wild dogs, they're going to move through this property very, very quickly. Amazing how it's still very, very warm, but the temperature has dropped quite a bit, thank goodness. We just heard that leopard call again. Where was that? I'm just trying to think. Now I'm torn. I'm torn, everyone. Do we... we've only got 15 minutes left or so. Do we try and go see if we can find that leopard, or do we stay here and enjoy? Quickly, send me your tweets. Tell me what you think we should do. If you want, we can try go have a look. I don't know where that leopard is exactly. But I don't think it's that far. We can try and find it, but we've only got a little bit of time, or we can just sit and enjoy this leopard in the tree. Beautiful view. Valerie, you've said we should stay. To be honest, my suggestion would be that we stay. Apparently most of you are saying we should stay. I think so too. This leopard, we don't often get to see shadow in a cub, so I wouldn't be surprised if that leopard we heard is possibly Tingana. Let's see what she's going to come down. Now look how different. Oh, still that last meter or so they jump. But oh, she's picked up a little piece already. Thanks, Viam. We've got the infrared on. There she goes. Now, still got that little limp. As I was always going to say, with her coming down the tree, did you see how different it was compared to that lion that we saw the other day? I hope all of you got to see that. It was really interesting to see the lion up in the tree and him coming down, that big male lion, but he wasn't able to climb down slowly like she was. You see, she almost turned sideways and coming down there, and then decide, and I don't know where she's going. It's interesting. Little cub's curious too, wants to know where she's going. James, you say maybe Tingana's warming up for his last minute appearance. You never know, possibly. So that's interesting that she's walking away with the kill. I don't understand this. I don't know why she's doing that, everyone. I've got no idea. Very, very interesting. Now, I think with her moving off, you know what, we've got some time. We got to see her come down that tree. We've had such a wonderful sighting. So we've had a wonderful sighting of them. I think, you know what, the little cub's left alone now. Let's give it its space. Don't want to disturb it too much with the mother not being here. Shadow's moved off, so she's basically made our minds up for us. We're going to go and have a look and see if we can try find that leopard that's calling. What an incredible sighting. That was so enjoyable. I really enjoyed this afternoon spending time with these leopards. Again, very, very fortunate. I'm just going to maneuver out of here. Now, apparently the storm has hit the Mara, everyone, so you might be stuck with me for the last 15 minutes or so, which is alright. There's a lot going on. Let's see, where's our little spotlight? It's almost that awkward light at the moment, not quite dark enough for the spotlights. Where did she go? Where did she go? Oh, there she is. There she is. What? She's going up. Oh. sorry, that happened so quickly. As we spotted her, she decided to climb up into this tree. Okay, well, we might stick around here for a while then. Oh, that's so strange. I don't know why she decided to do that. Just shows you that these animals can vary their behavior and do things that we would never even guess that they would do. Oh, she's having a seat again. She seems to be enjoying sitting in the tree. Heather, I get asked this question so often, and I don't know. You're wondering what the favorite time of the day in the bush is for me. I don't know. I like the early mornings because it's still cooler. So I'd have to say that those early mornings when it's still cooler and the animals are still moving around, I think that would have to be my favorite. But the afternoons are so beautiful too, the sunsets. Get to stop for sundowners. Oh, that is beautiful. Now you get to see her in infrared, but we've got just a beautiful silhouette of her at the moment. The tree's quite dark. So that whole tree, this big marula, with her sitting in it, is very beautiful. Nice view. Oh, what a lovely view of her. So I'd have to say the mornings, but the evenings, like I say, the evenings are nice too. There's always a lot going on at night. I suppose a lot of animals getting active, moving around, nocturnal animals. Speaking of the nocturnal animals, and nocturnal animal we don't get out here very often is, of course, the aardvark. And we've seen tracks of them, and we've seen them moving around, but we've seen the tracks around. We haven't seen them. The only two aardvark I've ever seen in the Sabi Sands, one was killed by a leopard and hoisted into a tree, and the other one was killed by lions and was busy being fed on. But we don't see them out here often. Tend to see them up in the Kalahari a lot, but those are the types of nocturnal animals we might be looking for, and I suppose that's reason to enjoy the nocturnal wildlife too. Now, speaking about the aardvark, Stacy was wondering, she's actually studying and going to be writing her field guide exam. The national field guide exams are coming up this weekend, so good luck to all the guides that are going to be writing this weekend. Stacy was asking about the aardvark because there's some big words with the terminology of taxonomies in it in the exam, and you need to speak about the family and order and genus and species and all of that, and some of the words are quite tricky. So the aardvark order, and if you go down the list of taxonomy and the different levels that you get before you get to the species, for example, aardvark order is Tubular dentata. So it's quite a tricky word. Stacey, I hope that helps. Tubular dentata. And then the family, which is an even harder word, is a Aricteropodidae. And it's a very tricky word. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Sometimes those exam questions, what they really want to know is if you understand taxonomy and the 7 major layers of identifying animals. So it starts kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So if you go all the way down, you'll eventually get, for example, a leopard, female leopard, genus and species, Panthera pardus. So Panthera being the genus and species being pardus. But if you go down kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, It'll be, yeah, so all these big terminology for a Monday evening. Oh dear. Good luck with your exam, Stacey. You better pass. I've been using these big terms, so hopefully you learn something from Safari Live and you pass. You know what? I think we've had such a wonderful view and afternoon with Shadow and her cub. Why don't we leave them in peace now? And let's see, last few minutes, maybe we bump into something along the way. Riti, you asked which cat do I prefer, lion or leopard? There's a full cat in the tree next to me at the moment. I don't know, Riti. I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to say a male leopard. I don't know. There's just something about a beautiful male leopard. They're secretive. They are. They're powerful. They're agile. Oh, yeah, all of that. Male leopard, I would say. It's my favorite cat. Forgot to get the spotlight on. There we go. Let's see now. I wonder, what about a little owl? Now, Linda, you would like me to find an owl. Well, let's try our best. And Snazzy, you'd like me to find an aardvark. In the order Tubulidentata. See, we've got to use massive words here from time to time. Thank goodness I took Latin at school for 2 years, believe it or not. So that helped me a little bit with the pronunciation of some of these scientific words, the Latin terminology. Can't remember any of the Latin though, unfortunately. But it's funny, sometimes I'll hear a word and I'll know more or less where it stems from. I suppose that's all it really helped with. Oh, that's a lovely cool breeze that we can feel at the moment. So what an amazing afternoon. We spent all our time with firstly finding that hyena cooling down in the dam. And then it took us straight back to where that kill was, where the leopards were, and started feeding on that kill. The little cub was very curious, came in and out. The hyena chased it once or twice. Eventually the hyena was full moved off. Female leopard came, dragged the kill back, and then took it up into the tree for us. That's a textbook afternoon safari, I suppose. Like the ideal afternoon safari. It would have been, I think my drive would have been made if we saw some elephant. That would have been the cherry on top for me. And Debbie, you asked, have I seen any snakes yet? Not yet. Not yet, Debbie, but it's getting warmer. So maybe soon we'll start seeing a few reptiles popping out. I hope so. Is it what I think it is? It is. Hold on. Look at this. Oh no, it's just gone back in. Let's see if I can coax it out for us. Our first one of the season. How much time do we have left? We've got a few minutes. Let me just see quickly. Oh no, this is not going to work. I'm trying to balance this torch here. Have you got it on infrared? Okay, I can't really see. I can't see. Hold on a second. I just want to see if I can coax this little guy out here. I've got a beautiful little scorpion. Oh, not so little actually. I might be a bit too shy to come out. Right at the top here, yeah. Can you see him there? You got him? Awesome. I can't see him yet. Oh. Is he coming out? Okay, hold on. Oh, do you see how quick that was? He tried to grab it. Well, I just wanted to show you that the scorpion was in there. I don't want to disturb it too much. Did you get a nice view of it, Vim? Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, there we go. There it is. Wonderful. Awesome. There we go. So how's that? First scorpion of the season, well, summer season, that I've spotted for us. Now this, I think, is the Epistocanthus asper. Tree creeping scorpion. They live in the bark of trees. There we go. Got it to come out at least. Hey, that's a nice little spot for the evening. So something different. Wonderful, nice. You can see those pincers. So these scorpions sit in these little holes in trees, and now moving into summer after the rains, they start getting more active because there are a lot of insects around at the moment. So what they do is, and why I just brushed a piece of grass on the edge of that hole, just to kind of coax him out a little bit, just to show you. But what he does is he picks up, these scorpions pick up on the vibrations, and they think it's an insect moving in front of the hole. So that's why it's sitting with the pincers open at the moment. These scorpions rely on the strength of their pincers. Now, there was an ant that crawled past there now. They rely on their pincers to grab insects. Now, after the rain, there's a lot more insects around. So anything that goes past that hole, that scorpion will be very, very quick, as you saw grabbing that piece of grass that I had. That was wonderful. Nice, eh? Look at that. Not a bad spot, eh? Stevie, thank you. You say it was an amazing spot. I learned to spot scorpions from my friend Judas. I've spoken about him many times before. The tracker I used to work with at Londolozi, he taught me how to look for scorpions at night. And it does take a bit of practice. So those scorpions, as I said, they rely on their pincers. They do have venom. And they will sting you with their tails. However, they rely more on the pincers. Now, basically two groups of scorpions, Butidae and Scorpionidae. Now, the Butidae, they've got very thick tails, small pincers, and they rely on the venom to kill their prey. Scorpionidae, they rely on the big pincers. They've got very big, powerful pincers and generally smaller tails. So they rely on the pincers. But both groups have got venom, and they can give you a nasty sting. Obviously, the Butidae ones, the venom is a lot more potent. That was a nice little surprise for the evening. Awesome, I'm happy with that. I'm so happy. Proud Cat Mama, you say it's the first time you've seen that type of scorpion. Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, anyway, that was a nice afternoon. Thingy-majig, you say I'm the scorpion whisperer. Thanks, Thingy-majig. I like your Twitter handle. And this might also be my last stint for this year on Safari Live, I think. I think with all the other presenters coming back, I don't think I'm needed anymore, so I'll probably only be back next year, maybe. Which is a bit sad. It's a bit sad, but we'll see. Probably next year again. Anyway. Let's see, who knows? Last glimpse of a leopard walking around, maybe? I doubt it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the afternoon with us, everyone. Thank you to the team in the Mara. Hopefully they survived the storm. Thank you, of course, to Megan in final control this afternoon. And to all our viewers, VM, thank you very much on camera. We'll see you all tomorrow morning for our sunrise safari. Good night and goodbye, everyone.